Hey folks, Cyber Rascal here, back again for another video. I hope you're all doing well and having an excellent time over the holidays. We are finally back into the 4.0 preview. For those of you that don't know, the 4.0 preview is, for all intents and purposes, the live version of 4.0. But it was just the version that is kind of half PTU and half live. And they didn't want to go full live when they left for the holidays to leave us with something that may end up stop working. So they've basically created two branches. Obviously we have the previous 324.3 live, which is still active for those people that wanted to continue with their missions that they're doing there for their prizes. And then there's the 4.0 preview, which is everything that was on the 4.0 PTU moved across to a pseudo live version of the game. What does this mean? This means that anything that happens in the 4.0 preview will be carried across to 4.0 live when that does eventually happen. So just to explain a bit further, that would mean that any money that you earn, any ships that you buy in game, any rep that you earn in game, anything that you acquire in game, whether it be items, loot, anything, will stay in your inventories and be carried across to the live version when it happens. The other thing that it also means that the expected wipe has occurred. So the only ships that we currently have and items that we currently have are those that were purchased via the pledge store. Anything that we previously bought in game in 324.3 has been completely wiped. That's all ships, items, rep, money, everything. So it's like starting afresh, as if you'd just gone and bought the game. You just made your purchases in the pledge store for the stuff that you wanted to start with, and you started from the beginning. That is basically where we started with the 4.0 preview. That being said, that's not where I'm starting right now. I went through quite a deep phase of procrastination about what was going to be the best things for me to have in this. I made a load of decisions previously when we had the ship sales going on, and I've since then had more time to think about it, and I've changed my mind on certain things. So I still have my Starlancer Max. I decided to keep that. I did buy a Cutty Red because it's quite useful for doing bunker missions. And when I say buy, I'm talking about pledge purchases. I didn't buy it outright. I upgraded previous items that I had via the CCU chain I upgraded them using my LTI tokens into the Cutty Red and things like that. But I since had a different line of thought after spending much time doing many cargo runs. Cargo runs really are quite hard work. When you're trying to earn millions and you don't have an enormous ship and you're faced with numerous levels of bugs in the game, the cargo missions can be quite trying on you. And obviously, given that we've just started again, we start out with 20,000 AUEC, which is not really enough to buy any cargo. So not enough that's going to make you millions anyway. You could start small and build your way up. But CIG wants us to, wanted to bring about a more realistic level of grind into the game so that people aren't doing a small amount of grind and ending up with everything. So a lot of these changes have been implemented, and I did do a fair amount of cargo and just thought, you know what, I like cargo, but I don't like it that much. And it is nice to do still, and with certain items I do still enjoy it, but just in terms of the typical Stanton runs that I've already been doing for years, for me personally, I'm just not finding it that exciting, just because I've done so much of it. There's a lot of new players out there that are just getting into it, and those cargo runs are the perfect place for you to train. You haven't been doing these runs for at least the last 5 or so years, so they haven't worn you out yet. So there's plenty that you need to learn if you're doing cargo. There's a lot in this game that needs to be learned. Knowledge is power when it comes to Star Citizen. So, you know, you really do need to do your homework. You know, watch the good YouTubers. There's so many YouTubers out there and content creators for each of the different areas of Star Citizen. You know, if you're really into doing cargo, then I advise watching channels like Noobs Gaming. He really gets into the cargo metas and things like that. You know, absolutely incredible. If you want to do the whole combat aspect of things, which a lot of people prefer to do PvE and PvP combat, I would suggest watching people like the Avenger 1 on his channel. You know, he provides a lot of free training for getting good at combat. I would also recommend watching I don't know what I'd recommend. What the hell am I talking about? Yeah, another good channel anyway, sorry, is Astromani's channel, which I mentioned before in the past. He covers pretty much a bit of everything. He does a bit of FPS, a bit of ship combat, he does a bit of cargo. It's the full spectrum of stuff. He's got a fantastic org, a good group of guys around him. I support his channel. And yeah, if you want a full spectrum of things, the one-stop shop for everything on Star Citizen that you want to learn, he's a really good guy to watch. So I suggest heading over to his channel. If I remember, I will put links in the description. There's many other combat people out there. The combat PvP community is pretty huge, but people that I tend to gravitate towards, you know, tend to be a fewer number of channels that I tend to watch more often. But to be honest, I only have so much time available, and majority of the spare time I have is either spent playing the game, recording videos for the game, or doing work in real life, of which I have a lot to do at the moment. So I'm doing my best to try and balance everything out, keep the content flowing, and also try and provide you, my community, and the Star Citizen community as a whole with some meaningful content that helps them progress in the game. So, where are we at now? So what I've done is I went back on my decision to buy the Cutty Red, and I decided to change that out for this favourite of mine, the Drake Vulture behind me. Drake Vulture being one of the more popular salvage ships in the game, for those of you that aren't already familiar. If you want to start with ship salvage, this is your goal, is to acquire one of these. And what is salvage? Well, salvage is basically the reclaiming of materials that are used to construct ships and vehicles. So the primary material that these will reclaim is recycled material composite, which is RMC, and the secondary is construction materials. So the best way to look at it is the recycled material composite, or RMC as we'll call it from now on, because it's less of a mouthful. RMC is the skin on the ship. So everything that you can see behind me, all those panels that make up that ship, are basically made of RMC. Then the construction materials are the structure that is attached to. So that's all your beams and cross members and all that gubbins. That's construction materials. Now, as things stand at the moment, RMC is the more valuable of the two. So it's quite beneficial to be holding RMC. I mean, they both have a purpose. I mean, you can't really use RMC to build things without the construction materials. They have to sort of work hand in hand. The mechanic for this isn't really in the game as such. There are a small few areas that where they do exist. I mean, inside the Vulture there is a printing machine, and that printing machine can print little things like the Grey Cat multi-tools. It can create the tractor beam cartridges for it, but it requires a very small percentage of RMC and a very small percentage of construction materials to create those. At some point I will you know, show the printer inside, but yeah, just for the purpose of explaining, that's what RMC and construction materials are. All ships are made of it. You can also salvage the hardware on the ships, like the guns, the turrets, the components inside the ships, like your power plants, shields, quantum drives, all of that stuff. It doesn't really get a lot of money, and most people tend to salvage that stuff to be able to keep and use for other ships. Now, with some of the combat missions, allegedly some of the components that are used on the NPC ships actually have quite high value to them. And when I say high value, I mean that they're not the bog standard components that come on stock ships. Some of them are some of the higher level ones. And I've even heard that some of the stuff that you can only get through doing contested zone missions in Pyro and things like that are also available on some of those NPC ships. I haven't seen it myself yet, so it's going to be an area that I'll be investigating at some point in the future. But apparently this is the case in 4.0, so definitely worth checking out. So, where are we at now? Now we're back to work in the game. We're trying to earn back all of the things that we lost in the wipe. And this bad boy behind me is my preferred way of doing it. So, in the interest of not standing here staring at the camera any longer, let's get into the nitty-gritty and go and do some work, and I will also talk you through some of the things inside this ship. There is a side ladder I can use here, which I will demonstrate. There is also a rear ramp at the back. You have two options to get in here. You have your basic living area. You can log out through this bed. We now have these funky fire extinguishers, which I seem to have in my inventory now to be tested. Obviously you've got basic sort of cooking stuff here, and components here, as these have now been given the pass that enables components. Very basic. Here you have some storage, more components, and then the bulk of interest is the work area down here. This is the storage area. Obviously we have your rear ramp at the back here. For loading and unloading. This is the machine that will output your recycled material composite, or your RMC, out of the tanks. The machine has its own storage tanks that it will initially collect anything that you're reclaiming, and when they fill up, you then output those into 1 SCU crates here, and then you stack those 1 SCU crates in the ship until you can't fit anymore, and then you bring them back to your place of choice, unload them and store them for sale at a later date through one of the TDD centres on one of the planets, or via one of the extremely risky scrapyards where they buy the materials. So we have a printer here. These are the various different items that we can print. I don't currently have anything in my tanks at the moment, so obviously nothing can be printed. You can actually print fuses, which is quite useful. At some point it'll be worth printing a whole store of these fuses and storing them on the ships, because when you get attacked, the fuses in the relays will pop and you will need to replace them. So that is actually a very useful thing here. You've got SRT canisters for storing RMC in the hand tools. You've got them for both the big one and the small one. But you can see here that for making a Pyro multi-tool, it takes 0.15 SCUs of construction materials and 0.050 SCUs of recycled material composite. Providing you have both those things in your tanks, you can hit the craft button and it will then take from there and make it in 8 seconds. So every now and then we do make the mistake of forgetting our tractor beams, something that is not a wise thing to do, because without your your trusty tractor beam, you can't move the crates about. But you can make one of these and the tractor beam module to go in it at the 3D printer here. I'm going to leave it at that for now, because as I actually do the work, you will see how, what, when, why, and anything that you need to learn, you will learn from that. I felt the need to make this video because I know a lot of people have watched the CitizenCon videos and have thought, yeah, that game's a bit of me, which is what I originally thought, you know, once back in the day. I'm an avid sci-fi fan, you know, I love shows like The Expanse. I quite like space-related industrial sci-fi content of all kinds, which is why I quite like The Expanse, because you've got a bit of combat and a bit of the industrial side to that, and I've always thought that's been quite cool. But I mean, this is my game. I mean, it almost feels like this game was designed specifically for me, because everything that I want or need in a game, Star Citizen will have to offer or has to offer. I can hear some of you thinking, you're such a cult member. Maybe I am a cult member, who knows? All I know is I haven't paid a lot of money to have this game, and I spend my time playing it, and during that time I enjoy myself. You know, I get the required level of escapism that I need in my life. I get the sci-fi fix that I want. I get to fly around in really cool looking spaceships. I enjoy this stuff, you know? So, yeah, there may be many people that call me a cult member. There may be many people that say that Star Citizen is a scam. But scams don't usually offer you that kind of value. Scams, the whole point of a scam is that it claims to offer you something and doesn't. This claims to offer certain things, and in my opinion, although there are many bugs that we have to overcome and much patience is required at times, overall I do get the things that I'm being told that I am going to get. So can you really call that a scam, seeing as I am actually getting the experience? I'm getting more than the experience that I paid for. You know, I enjoy this stuff. Want to do a bit of cargo? Yep, I can go off and do a bit of cargo. Want to do a bit of salvaging? I can go and do that. Want to go and blow some shit up? I can go and do that. You know, want to go and get blown up? I could do that really well. So, yeah, that's it really. That's my thoughts on the game. If you don't like it, don't play it. If you don't like the content, don't watch the videos. Plenty of content out on YouTube. You know, just leave those people alone. Right, so we've powered up. I haven't really upgraded this ship yet. I've been saving up my money. How much have I got so far? So I got about 2.3 million, which has been really hard work so far. That's been part cargo hauling and part salvage and a little bit of combat, as in PvE combat. So we're going to call our hangar. I have to apologise for any of the frame drops we're getting. There are some performance lags going on at the moment, but we will get through that. Most of the time it runs fairly smoothly. Once we get out into space, it runs really smoothly. Horizon's always been a bit laggy just because of the amount of clouds and content and things going on inside the game. There's a lot of assets there that are high draw on the resources. For this video we'll be heading over to Yella, which is a favourite for getting finding things to salvage. So let's just plot our route if it, oops, plot our route if it will allow. Yes, appears to be allowing it today. Okay, let's go nav mode. Let's do some of the zoom. There's two things we can go and do in Yellow. Two things that I tend to do in Yellow. There's probably millions of things to do in Yellow. Got the rings. Now we can go off and search for panels. Which is something that I tend to do quite a lot because it's simple. Well, I say simple. It's simple when you know how. Or another favourite of mine is the Unverified Salvage missions. Now, with these, you can see you get paid. With these, you have to pay to get them, the locations. So you basically pay this money and they give you the location of this thing here. Or with these, you get paid to do a high-speed salvage, which means you've got a limited amount of time to do it. Now, the Starfarer's an easy one because it's a massive ship and it's really easy to salvage. So I'm going to start with these and then we'll move on to the panels for the next one. So I will get a full load from that Starfarer, so much so I won't be able to finish my meal, to say the least. But I just wanted to show you the options and what's involved. Hopefully it will give us a location. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. In this case it has, so it's in the rings. But the locations where these ships are also have good panels, which is why I start with a ship. I'll leave the ship there for a marker. I can then come back to a later date. As I said, there are these little niggling bugs, but yeah, we get through it. We earn money. Normally you can jump to these locations, but for some reason at the moment it's not working. Hello, who's that? Oh no, you're not going to be on me already, are you? He jumped away. At least I hope he jumped away. I haven't had to deal with a whole lot of pirating. But saying that, being that I'm recording a video, you'll probably see me get hammered. But I'm prepared to be a sacrificial lamb if that is the case. These are good areas to find paddles. in order to do that, I'll just show you on the way to our location quickly. If you hit V on the keyboard, it puts you into scanning mode. And you'll start to see 14,000 that's come up on the screen at the top center. That's panels. You've passed that already. But you can point at that target, and you'll get to that target and you'll find there's panels there to be munched. Obviously we're not doing panels just yet, but when I come to do the panels, you'll see how that works. But you have to be in scan mode to see that. But it's basically multiples of 2,000 that you want, and even numbers. They do go quite high. I've seen them for like 22,000. Haven't seen anything higher than a 22,000. But you do get quite a lot of material off of the panels, and they're just pieces of metal floating in space that you can basically scrape with your lasers and get RMC from. And obviously there's no cost, you just have to go and find them using this method, which I will show you when I finish this ship. So this is going to be quite a long video, but I think it's an important video because this, in my opinion, is the easiest way to earn money. I know that obviously the Vulture isn't really an affordable starter ship, but it's a goal. They're not that expensive to buy, and once you have it, just switch back into SCM mode. But now I've got to go and try and find this thing, the Starfarer, which should pop up any second. Now, is that contact the thing that I want to... Getting a frame drop whilst I'm being attacked. So we had major frame drop there. And we got attacked while we were trying to do our salvage job, which kind of sucked. I'm not sure if it was NPCs or if it was players, but kind of annoying all the same. I don't give up that easily. Yeah, Vulture's actually quite tanky now because they've given it lots of shield power. I wasn't even using that much of my shield power. Let's see if they're still camping this. No, that's a player. Typical, you try and do a video to teach a bit of salvaging and you get ganked. I've done thousands of hours of salvaging without getting ganked. Even if he does kill me, it's not like you can take my RMC that I currently don't even have on board and put it in his Hornet, so we'll see if he comes back or not. I'm going to amp my shields up this time though. Give myself that chance. I've only got 2 size 1 guns on this, so I'm not particularly effective in combat. Let's give myself as much in the shield department as I can. Plenty of shield. I've got 3 size 1 shields on this. The ganker, sir, are you around? He may not have known about the Starfarer, so got 62 shots if I need them. Shame we don't have bigger guns on this, to be honest, because I mean size 1 guns are just so ineffective. There's just almost no point in having them. So target. I am probably going to put stealth components on the Vulture just to hide my signature a bit more as well. But I've got a goal at the moment. I need to make 6 million because I want to buy a Firebird. So this is a lovely meal. Lots of scraping to be done here. Right, in terms of my equipment that I'm using, In the salvage vehicles, you hit M to go into salvage mode. It's M on your keyboard, M for mother. As you can see, top left, top right, I've got the cinch scraper modules and I've got the abrade scraper modules. Stock, these come with one abrade scraper module and one tractor beam on the other side, usually on the left. Now, tractor beam I personally find useless, as do a lot of others, so I've swapped that out for another abrade. The abrade will basically scrape a lot faster and suck in a lot more material than a cinch. I've seen a lot of people going out there doing panels with cinch scrapers, and it takes them an eternity to do what you can do with an abrade in minutes. So, just to give you an example, if you look at how much material I'm actually bringing in, you can see below those circles in the screens the level of material and the width of the fan that the lasers actually create. If I change that out to the cinch, do an equivalent panel here, it's a much smaller fan, and you can see the amount of material I'm bringing in is far less. So it's going to take me a lot longer to scrape this with the cinches than it will with the abrades. So we don't use cinches. They're good for intricate stuff because the abrades kind of the hammer, and yeah, it's you know, sometimes you need to scrape, you know, surgical tools, not builder's tools. But to be honest, I rarely use the cinches for anything. These grab the material very quickly, and as you can see, you don't want to be hanging around out here to get ganked. So, and I'm also on a time limit with this. Normally it shows in the top right hand corner of the screen, but you're getting about an hour, I think it is, or 40 minutes to scrape everything you can scrape. But we will fill ourselves up in entirety. Well, hopefully, if we don't get ganked again. See, I've already got 2.1 out of 13 SCUs. I can hold 13 SCUs in the tanks. Then I have to go downstairs and unman my radar, which in these situations can be a bit nerve-wracking. You can control the scrapers on gimbals if you want to. I prefer to do what I'm doing here and move the whole ship, so I have more control. I find the gimbal control a bit sensitive. But what I do is I use a mouse and keyboard for the scraping, whereas I'm using a HOTAS setup for flying at the moment. I'll soon have dual sticks if they ever arrive. I bought a nice set of Winwing Ursa miners. The space variant they do. So I've got one angled left stick and one straight right stick. Although I can convert the left stick into a straight stick if I want to. I didn't want to spend a fortune just in case I didn't like the dual stick convigs. I've since forever used a HOTAS setup. Well, I only ever used this HOTAS setup. It's the only one I've ever owned. And I said when it dies, I'll buy a better setup. Problem is, it won't die. It just keeps going. I've got the Cytec X52 Pro, which I bought like 10 years ago, before Logitech even bought Cytec as a company. And yeah, I'll say one thing about Cytec: their products last. I've no experience with the Logitech version. Oh, I can see another target off to my left there. Sometimes you do get other abandoned ships here which you can go and salvage as well, so you kind of get a 2-for-1 deal. So there's many magical things hiding in the rings of yellow, that's all I can say. Sometimes things will surprise you. As you can see, a lot of ganking goes on, so a lot of dead ships get left around. I know CIG is getting more aggressive with getting rid of dead ships, but there's still some to be salvaged. It's always good to do a few pulses every now and then with the radar. That target's not moving, my bottom left. There's no name on it as well, which means it's usually a dormant ship of some kind. As you can see, there are weapons on this ship that can be salvaged. Another reason I want the Firebird is so when I do get ganked, I can jump in my Firebird and then come back and kill the ganker if I have to. Because things are so unbalanced at the moment. The Firebird does have an unfair advantage when it comes to stealth and missiles. It's not gameplay I like to promote, but also don't like bullies, so I don't give up easily. But it's part of the game. As long as they can take what they give as well as they give it, then I'm cool with it. That's just good practice. I'm desperately trying to get better at combat flying. Not because I want to be a sweaty PvP pilot, but I just want to be competent. I do enjoy the combat as much as I enjoy doing industrial. Obviously I think it pays to be good at numerous things in this. Which means there's more gameplay available for you as well. I don't know why I'm focusing on these little tiny bits. I'm not going to be able to eat all of this anyway. Might as well stick to the big bits. As you can see, the bottom right hand corner, my tank is filling up quite quickly. If I was able to complete munching all of this, and just only the in terms of the RMCs, I think it's too big for me to crunch. For the construction materials, I would get paid 23,000 AUEC. But with what you're earning in RMC, it's kind of inconsequential. You can get, what, 13,000 for every SCU of RMC. Typically on a full load, when I go and sell at Oriton, I will get about 400,000 AUEC worth of RMC. Is a full load. That's every box that I can fit comfortably into the storage area in the back of this Vulture. And I don't just use the storage grid, as you will see. I store it everywhere. Why the whole back of this isn't a storage grid, I don't know, but cargo grid, as they call it. Everybody does what I'm doing. Well, those that know do. Quite frankly, I wish the Vulture was bigger. Right, our filler station's now full. So, just because of the recent ganking, I'm gonna tuck myself here a bit. Oh damn. He's obviously damaged my rear ramp, then realised I've got nothing in the back and left me alone. That's annoying. Well, isn't going to stop me. Although, I have to be careful where I store my boxes now though, because I can't shut the rear ramp. So, go to the depot, you start ejecting, pull out your multi-tool. So annoying that you can't close these. It's totally dead. So I've got some cargo grid. I may well lose boxes out the back when I try and fly off the stuff that isn't on the cargo grid. It's the problem when people shoot your back door. That's what happens. What I normally do is stack stuff there. Without a back door, that could go bye-bye. Bloody gankers, man. At least you can see the dangers of being a salvage dude. Sometimes you are flying by the seat of your pants. I've got a feeling as soon as I accelerate this, you're going to disappear out the back. Oh, stay. It's not like I can tie a rope across the back of it. I might get lucky. At least I can repair when I get back. Okay, we've emptied our tanks. You know, life gives you lemons. Gotta hit that lemonade. Whatever you do, do not crash into these, because once they start spinning, which they will, doing this salvage is not so easy. There's two options for depositing your RMC. I could go to Grim Hex, but yeah, being a vulture in Grim Hex or approaching Grim Hex, probably not the best idea. Although thankfully most of the pyros are off. Pirates are in Pyro at the moment, so if you are going to do that, now's the best time to try it. But they're still there, the friendly neighbourhood gankers. Ready to get out of dodge when we have to. It's not working. Obstructed in some way, shape or form. Just have to freehand it. Did you get attacked? Sometimes it's good to pre-program your target so you can just go into nav, get out of dodge before you get attacked. Always good to keep an eye on your radar though. Keep sending out those pings. Although he's probably gone off to bother somebody else now. As you can see, these starfarers are very tanky. They do have lots of material on them. Once the authorities turn up, we can't come back to this, and when the timer runs out that we currently can't see, you will get 3 NPC ships will swarm this area, and if you kill them you get a crime stat because they're the authorities. That's what I'm doing here is technically illegal. Hence it being an unverified mission. Still can't believe I got ganked. Happens so rarely these days, at least to me anyway. Wasn't at all prepared. My shield's at minimum. See, our tank's over half full again now. If I was using the cinches, my first load would still probably only be about halfway to 3/4. You can purchase the abrade from Cousin Crows. Lots of platinum bays sell it. It's a very common scraper tool. But I suggest that one of the first things you do when you buy a Vulture is swap over to the abrade. So that increases your earning potential massively. Well, just in the time that you can actually scrape the ships, it reduces it, so you can get through more in less time. I find doing these ships is a lot easier than panels. You wouldn't get this much material on panels. You'd spend a lot of time looking for them as well. I'm not opposed to doing panels, but I'm opposed to getting more in less time. I'm opposed to getting less in more time. As in, I like to get more in less time. You see, my tanks are nearly full again. Right, filler station's full again. Check on the radar. Good for now, although we've got a nice view from our back door. Let's see if anyone comes up behind us. Shame I haven't got a railgun. Hello. I got a bit spicy for a second. probably sitting waiting for us to finish. So he can come and steal all my shit. Things are getting a bit dicey with things here. Come on. When you get to this stage, it gets a bit tricky. Right, still blocked. Oh, squeeze one more out. Should do it. There we go. Right, that's the majority done. Apparently you can fit one more in there, but I mean, I can't be asked, to be honest. Let's have one more box. One more wafer thin box. Still got 3 in the tank. We've got another 10 we can put in. And that's 400 grand. If we don't lose any out the back. Let's focus on the big bits on the bottom. Get the hell out of here. Try and fix our ramp. But at least I don't have to go back downstairs and take my eye off the radar. We'll go and dump this load. And then we'll come back to this area in search of panels. Right. We are full. Let's see the boxes fall out the back, shall we? No, we're lucky. That would have been the bulk of our time on that as well, but as you can see, we got most of the RMC. We didn't complete it, but yeah. These boxes have shifted a little bit. Nice and gentle. Not going to boost. There go the frames again. Come on, frames, come back. Six frames per second at the moment, but we'll do our best. Fortunately, it's just the game being unoptimized that does this. And the servers haven't had a hard reset because everyone's been away for Christmas. It does happen. Plus I'm recording at 4K, so... Give me my frames back. Oh shit. No. It's 6 frames per second. This is really hard to control. Oh, that was close. Got some frames back. I like to back it right up to the entrance with my lift. Get the frames back. Go figure. Don't have to open the back door, do I? Okay, we didn't lose any. Cargo grid on these elevators is also a bit hit and miss. Tends to vanish in some places. What I tend to do is set up a row at the back. I don't go right to the back because sometimes it can cause problems with the lift. Then once I've created my row, I've got something to push against. I can just slam them all in. Some lovely RMC boxes. Okay, we've got a little row. Lock in. Yes. Sometimes they don't lock in, then they don't register. It's always good to try and make sure they do. Can use the Atlas for this, but with the small boxes over such a short distance, it's more hassle than it's worth. Plus, I'm trying to avoid keeping any unnecessary vehicles in my hangar parked around the outside at the moment, Atlas is included, because I had the hangar bug recently and it turned out that was the cause. Hangar bug is when you don't have access to your personal hangar, the elevator won't go there, you can't spawn any ships, you can't do anything, you're just kind of screwed. But because I was changing up my ships anyway, I melted all the ships that I had. Either melted or upgraded everything. And that made the ships reset. Ships disappeared and I magically had access to the hangar again. So one would assume... I'll go in there, will you? That's going to wreck my OCD. No grid there for some reason. This happens, the grid breaks. At this point, I'd say just chuck them anywhere. Whatever's faster. Might not be pretty. Doesn't need to be pretty at all. It's just me, an OCD. Stacking boxes is kind of addictive for some. Oh. It's up. A full load is normally 36 SCUs of RMC. Obviously we've still got a full storage tank. Alright, when you're ready, thank you. Very much looking for to reset these servers. They've been going all Christmas without a hard reset. And the bugs have taken their toll. I think when they release the next patch iteration, they fix some of these annoying bugs. I think we'll be in a better place. Grid there. It's important to keep clearing these boxes or the machine will stop ejecting them and you have to go and push the button again. Like that. Don't do it standing in front of it either. That also causes it to block. Goodness sake. Flats. Right, that's everything. We're now empty. So we're going to store all that. For sale later in the warehouse. As I said, that is 37 boxes, which is 400,000 or 399,000 AUEC. So now we've got to try and fix this, which is a pain in the bum, because even when you repair it, you still can't close the back. You have to stow it and unstow it to get the back to close. And even then, I'm not sure it will fix it. Yes, another bug. Another bug. That's all she wrote. Let's just refuel. When you stow ships, it closes the doors, so...
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Your vehicle has been moved to our storage. Please visit us again. Goodbye. Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
As you can see, these are all the ships that I've got at the moment. That's everything. See, I bought the Guardian recently. Not for PvP or anything, I just liked it. I thought it was a cool ship. And it's really immersive to fly. I've got my Starlancer Max. I've got a Freelancer Max, which they gave me for free. I have no idea why. Vulture, and I got a Buccaneer. When I bought the Vulture, I got the Buccaneer for free. So that was a twofer. I think the Freelancer is something to do with the Starlancer, because I had that before I bought the Guardian. So it might be an arena commander thing. Sometimes they used to give you second ships so that you can take part in arena commander. Obviously a Vulture's not much good in arena commander. So they give you a buccaneer so you can take part in that. I imagine these will disappear at some point. But while they're there, I'm going to make use of them. I'll explain what I'm doing with the Freelancer Max at some point. But that's a whole other video.
Your vehicle has been delivered. Please
So,
visit us again.
let's see if our Vulture is in fact working again. If it isn't, I have to take it outside, shoot it. I like to wait for a minute because sometimes the hangar floor can disappear. And we're back in business. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to conclude this video here because I don't want to make each one of these individuals too long. I'm going to do this little series as a two-part. Obviously the first part was going off and doing unverified missions. I've done this before with previous videos, but I just wanted to demonstrate in 4.0 how that's working, and also in glorious 4K. Also, you can see the perils of being out in yellow and being the victim of a ganker. It's always good to see. Plus you can also see some of the bugs we're having to deal with. I'm currently getting 52 frames a second, which is nice and crispy. We like 52 frames a second, and it's quite rare to get that much in this game. But since server meshing has happened, we're able to get these, well, for starcitizen, crazy high frame rates. I'm only using a 3070, so it's not like I've got a mega setup, but to be honest, having a balls to the wall setup in starcitizen doesn't make any difference. You're going to get a frame drop if you're using, you know, the most powerful gear on the market, or if you're using average stuff like I am. But for me, the setup that I've got works really well. I've got a 5700X CPU, obviously the RTX 3070 GPU. I'm playing in 4K. Performance is no different to when I was playing in 1080, so yeah, I mean, it's good enough. If you're wondering how much you need to play this game, you don't even need this much. For years I played on a 1060, and it wasn't that long ago, it was only about a year ago that I updated to the 3070, and I was playing Star Citizen that whole time. So you'll be surprised what you can get away with hardware wise. Yeah, I didn't get the best performance on the 1060. I had an AMD 2600 CPU as well, a Ryzen 5 2600, and I made it through. You know, it does work, it does run, and it's not horrible, it's playable. So yeah, you know, if you are worried about hardware, I'm not suggesting get that hardware. Try and aim a bit higher because you'll get a little bit better performance, but you don't need to spend a fortune on a PC to play Star Citizen, regardless of what people have been telling you. The most important thing right now really is a reasonable CPU and having an SSD of some kind. If you're playing on a standard hard drive, you will run into trouble. But yeah, you don't need to spend a fortune. So just wanted to put that in there, seeing as we are talking to the beginner audience and intermediate audiences as well that are probably wondering these things. So for part 2 we're going to come back and do the panels, because I'm in dire need of a cup of coffee. It's quite early in the morning here. So yeah, need to eat something, grab a coffee, wake myself up a bit, and then we're going to get back out there and go and do the panels, because we're on the yellow brick road to purchasing myself a Firebird, which is just under 6 million AUEC. But we are getting there. I'm hoping to have it before the holidays end, which for me will be the 2nd of February. So I think CIG are coming back from their holidays around the 6th. We might see a patch before then, but I don't think we'll see it till after then personally. But things will only improve drastically after they run the next patch. So without further ado, we will see you in the next video, which I will be releasing as quickly as I can after this one. So have an excellent day, and we will catch up with you again shortly. This is Cyber Rascal out. And emotes are now working again. Look at that. Alright, have a good one. I'll see you in a bit.